mentioned this earlier in the show. Now we get a chance to really talk about it. So the state of Florida has announced that stadiums can now operate at full capacity despite ongoing concerns about super spreader events for COVID. The Dolphins, however, have decided against the full stadium and will proceed with their plan of 20% capacity, or just 13,000 fans, in their next game October 25 against the Chargers. So in or out, while full capacity seems irresponsible, the Dolphins should fill more than 20% capacity at their next home game.
No, I'm going to say out of bounds of that, BT. They're doing this because this is what they deem safe and responsible. And I've been in Hard Rock Stadium for the Miami game a couple weeks ago, BT, and the seats they're like cellophaned off. You can't sit in them unless you're assigned to a socially distanced area of the stadium, and they're going to keep that until they feel comfortable, and maybe it's losing them money, but their owner Stephen Ross is being responsible here, and I commend him for it. So this is out of bounds. They should not fill it more than they want to. By
the way, is it every other seat? Is it like two seats wrapped down, three?
So it's like
6 feet?
It'll be like two seats together, or maybe 3 or 4 because you come as a group.
Sure.
And then there's 8 that are wrapped off.
Wow.
Now here's the other thing. The 4 seats that are together, said BT.
Yeah.
The 4 seats in front and the 4 seats behind, they're also wrapped.
Good.
So you can't get close to anyone, which is how it should be. Now the only issue is entering and exiting, and they have ushers.
Yeah.
I mean, remember how we joked about it was like church, like leaving church?
Mm-hmm.
They literally have ushers that have like a paddle that says you can go now, and now you wait. You can go now. They let people leave before you never congregate.
Well, if it's like church and they're leaving the pew, they should hand out the plate and make up the money they're losing because for having just 13,000 people there, it's smart.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen,
Where's
I'm told.
my
Exactly. Give me that plate. Listen, this is smart.
I agree.
This is very smart. I'm sure there are some rabid fans and some people who denounce the levels of the virus and whatever. You can do that on your own time. It is what it is. People have died from it. I know other complications were there. I get it. But this is not a made-up pandemic. It's just not. So to operate as if nothing is wrong is irresponsible. And, we got a letter an email the other day, not in our children's school, but in the other school, which is a mile from our home. Somebody, unfortunately, a young child tested positive, and they're going to quarantine. And now you're just getting these little dribs and drabs, the emails around town. You're starting to see it almost, certainly not to
we had one here, too.
You did. It doesn't surprise me. Not to the degree when like a wildfire started in March, but you're seeing things that we weren't really seeing in June, July, and August here. Right. So vigilance is key. I commend the Dolphins. And from a money point of view, how much are you going to actually make? I mean, it's about the TV deals anyway, which is the real machine. Smart move, Miami. Got a lot of respect for that decision. Warriors. 5 straight finals. It's going to be interesting to see what they are next year.
I know.
Forget about the Warriors.
I'm really interested to see who they draft.
Yes. I think they're going to trade.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
I think they're trading out of that spot. But anyway, the Warriors, of course, ripped off 5 straight finals. They went to 5 straight. They won 3 before finishing with the worst record in the NBA this season. Now, this week, head coach Steve Kerr told The Athletic, quote, "We're still going to be the Warriors. We're not going to all of a sudden turn into the Rockets." Wow. And have one guy go high pick and roll 70 times a game. End quote. A lot of shade. Wow. Not even hiding it. That is overt shade. Wow. Then Steph Curry spoke with Bleacher Report. A little bit of a different angle, but it's an interesting one, saying they need some more pieces. Quote, "We just need some talent. I think we could use a little bit of size. It's just trying to fill out the roster and get us as much depth as possible." End quote. In or out, Teak, the Warriors should focus on adding more depth rather than trying to bring in another star.
I think they should bring in a star, man. If you can find one that's going to complement you correctly, then bring in a star. So I'm going to say out of bounds of this one. The question is, are there any available? And the answer is no right now, free agent-wise, unless you're going to trade someone. We've talked about this many times, BT. The free agency this offseason is not excellent. But I'm still going to say, try to find a star. That helps you win championships better than finding depth.
Oh, I'd like them to maybe find a way to get both. I'm going to say inbounds here. I think the depth is really important because, what a brilliant statement. I think depth is important. How did this guy get on the radio?
Yeah.
Of course, depth is obviously important, but, at the highest levels of the NBA, think about this. The Lakers have a couple of guys sitting on the bench, one of whom was basically collecting dust for a couple of weeks straight. That's Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
And then he was serviceable against Jokic, getting in his grill and getting him off his game a little bit here. You need depth, and you need reliable veteran depth. You just need that. So I don't know that they really need another star. Listen, if Klay Thompson's fully right, and by the way, you got Andrew Wiggins now.
True, but who's their big? Who's their star big? They don't have one.
No, they don't have. They definitely don't have a star big. That's for sure.
Well, who's their serviceable one? That's the question.
Looney's pretty serviceable. I like Looney.
So.
Looney's pretty good.
Yeah, he is.
He's good. Looney's good.
He's more of a depth. He's a depth player.
I got no problem if Looney's still playing 25. I like Looney actually. They can make a trade on draft night or before the draft. I think they will. They're also in a position where they can, like, if they wanted to draft Ball, which I don't think that I would personally if I'm them.
Doesn't make sense.
I agree, but they've got enough talent now where they can almost take a flyer on somebody like Ball, who's still not totally refined. He's got to become a better shooter, even though I think we think he will.
Yeah.
Like certain teams, like the Knicks have to draft somebody who can help. The Bulls have to find somebody who can help. The Pistons have to draft somebody who can help. The Warriors are in a bit of a different spot. I'm going to say depth. But they're such a small organization. Would it stun you if they got Victor Oladipo? Would it stun you?
No, but I don't see that as being the right case. If they're going to draft somebody, I think Obi Toppin. He's old enough.
Agreed. Agreed.
Experienced, and he's had what is he? He's a senior, right? So
and he's 23 years old too.
Exactly. So
played a lot of basketball.
He'll get in. He'll understand it.
Yep.
And he'll make a difference right away.
I'm with you. Things were a little heated last night. Dodgers, Padre, Machado. This was ridiculous. Machado hit a home. I don't know if you saw this, Tiki. Machado hit a home run, and he didn't toss. He didn't flip the bat. He spiked it like it was a football.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
he threw it and he was yelling.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I get it. You're trying to fire up you guys, and I respect that, but that was a little over the top. And then 1 inning later, Cody Bellinger with a sick. I mean, that would have been. I know there was a guy. I think there was a guy. Was there one or two? I think there was one guy on base. Tatis hits a bomb to dead center. Bellinger tracks it. Ball's a home run. His glove is 1.5 feet over the wall, and it's a home run, and he pulls it back. So he robbed them there. And then, L.A., their pitcher, Gretterol, celebrates, and he raises his arms, and he's doing some emphatic things as well. Throws his glove toward the dugout. It's a spectacle. And Machado was furious. They were jawing, and you had a couple of Dodgers saying, come on out, and Mookie Betts was talking, and Max Muncy, who's never afraid, he's never going to back down, he was saying something. So here's the thought. If we approve of bat flips, which I've come around on, all right, provided the over-the-top ones, but I'm cool with them now.
Yep.
And so if we approve of bat flips and batters' antics, various antics at the plate, pitchers should also be able to celebrate wildly on the mound after a big out, in or out.
I want to say out of bounds of that because pitchers are supposed to be the ones that are in control. They're supposed to have their measurements about them. Their
says who?
wits. I don't know. It just seems counterproductive for a pitcher to get overexcited because there was a big out. I mean, maybe it was a big strikeout. You pump your fist a little bit, but to throw your glove in the dugout, I don't know. You're gonna hurt your arm. And all of a sudden, you strained a muscle because you were excited. I'm gonna say out of bounds.
I mean, that was great.
It's just not as cool. It's just not as cool as throwing it back.
Well, it doesn't look as cool. That's true. It doesn't look as cool. I mean, throwing the glove, that's just grammar school stuff right there. That was over the top. That was ridiculous. But Machado was also way over the top. I had no problem with this. Come on, man. I've got to answer this. Just common sense. Inbounds, you've got to give pitchers the latitude to fire back. I mean, so let me get this straight. You want pitchers to be refined, robotic zombies.
I want them to focus on
fully
getting the next out.
But what if it's the third out of the inning?
Okay,
which is one that
you got to come back out there. You throw your glove and
you can't,
throw your
arm
out.
You can't
wrench your back. Got to have core surgery next week.
Well, you can't ask pitchers to be like conveyor belt robots.
But I appreciate those guys.
I'm not saying I don't either.
They get you out and they go right back to business.
I prefer that method more than the other way as well. Like Mariano, sure, I like that better. Give me the ball, let me throw a little cutter, and lights out. Broken bat, go back to your dugout, and I'm going to go back for a win. I get it. But if a guy's chirping, if a guy's flinging his bat, if it's built up, you got to give these pitchers a little bit of room to release some emotion. I don't know that I actually might do it. And at this point, if the guy 60 feet 6 inches away is acting like a knucklehead, that's giving me license to act like a knucklehead. And I act like a knucklehead without a license to act like a knucklehead. You grant me the license, I'm going to really act like a knucklehead. Inbounds. Come on, Barber. Come on. Like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.